There's a world inside you, a vast, unseen landscape that shapes the way you think, feel, and live. You might believe you know yourself, your likes, your dislikes, your story. But Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Welcome back to Psyche Unveiled. In this journey, we're going to explore Jung's map of the psyche, the ego, the shadow, the anima and animus, and the self. Not as abstract ideas, but as living forces within you, waiting to be understood. Jung began as a man of science. He studied medicine and psychiatry under the same currents that shaped Freud: logic, observation, the clinical mind. But beneath that calm, scientific surface, Jung felt a pull towards something deeper. He saw that patients didn't just suffer from illness, they suffered from meaninglessness. And behind every symptom, depression, obsession, anxiety, he sensed a story, a secret pattern in the psyche trying to reveal itself. That search became his life's work. And to navigate this unseen world, Jung drew a map, not of geography, but of the human soul. The first landmark on Jung's map is the ego, the part of us that says, "I am." It's the conscious mind, the self-image we build across years of experience. It's who you think you are, your name, your career, your beliefs, your memories. It's the narrator in your head, constantly weaving your life into a coherent story. But the ego is not the whole story. It's just the surface of a deep ocean. And like the tip of an iceberg, it floats above waters, filled with the things we've forgotten, denied, or never truly faced. The problem comes when we mistake this small I for the totality of who we are. When we over-identify with our ego, life becomes rigid. Everything outside our identity feels like a threat. We defend our image instead of exploring our truth. And that's when another force begins to stir below the surface: the shadow. The shadow is everything about ourselves that we reject. Our envy, our anger, our selfishness, but also our unrealized talents, our courage, and our vitality. It's not evil, it's simply hidden. From childhood, we learn what is acceptable. We show the world our pleasant faces and bury the rest. We say, "I'm kind," and repress the moments of cruelty. We say, "I'm confident," and hide our insecurity. Piece by piece, we build a mask. Jung called it the persona. And everything that doesn't fit behind that mask becomes the shadow. But what we repress doesn't disappear. It lingers in dreams, slips out in anger, or hides in our judgments of others. When we criticize someone harshly, we often reveal what we've denied in ourselves. That's projection, the shadow's favorite disguise. To confront the shadow is terrifying, but necessary, because until we do, it controls us from the dark. And integration, not denial, is the beginning of transformation. Jung himself went through this process. After breaking from Freud, he entered a deep psychological crisis. He experienced dreams and visions that unsettled him. Faces, symbols, voices. He thought he might be losing his mind, but instead of turning away, he listened. He began a dialogue with the figures within, a process he called active imagination. Through that dialogue, Jung encountered his own shadow, his arrogance, his fear of failure, his doubts about meaning. He saw his anima, the inner feminine voice that guided him toward intuition and feeling. And through years of this inner work, he came to a new understanding that the psyche is not an enemy to be conquered, but a mystery to be explored. It was in these depths that Jung discovered the next part of the map, the anima and animus. Within every man, Jung said, lives the anima, his inner feminine side. And within every woman lives the animus, her inner masculine side. Now, this isn't about gender, it's about psychological balance. We all carry both masculine and feminine energies, the logical and the intuitive, the active and the receptive, the strength and the sensitivity. When a man denies his anima, he may become emotionally closed off, trapped in rationality. When a woman rejects her animus, she may doubt her independence, her assertiveness, her voice. But when we learn to integrate these inner counterparts, we begin to heal the split. We develop empathy without losing clarity, strength without losing softness. Our relationships transform too, because when we haven't made peace with our inner opposite, we project it onto others. We fall in love with what's missing in ourselves. Or we reject others for carrying traits we haven't accepted within. Integration means reclaiming those lost parts, realizing that love begins inside. At the center of Jung's map lies the self, not the ego, not the mask, but the totality of who you are. The self is the unifying force that holds everything, light and dark, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, in a single field of being. If the ego says, "I am this," the self whispers, "I am all of this." To move toward the self is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole. It's not about perfection, it's about integration, bringing the forgotten into the light, making peace with what we fear, and allowing all our parts to find their rightful place. Individuation isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey, a path of balance where every crisis, every mistake, every emotion becomes material for growth. When we follow this path, we begin to experience something beyond self-image, a quiet sense of purpose, authenticity, and inner freedom. Now, it's one thing to understand Jung's map in theory. It's another to live it, to walk through the inner landscapes it reveals. The truth is, this map was never meant for the classroom or the clinic alone. It's a living compass guiding you through the everyday challenges, emotions, and relationships that shape your journey. So how do we use it? First, begin with awareness. Notice the moments when life feels charged, when someone's words sting too deeply, when jealousy flares, when you feel an unexplainable pull towards someone or something. These are not random reactions. They are signals, invitations from the unconscious. When you catch yourself judging harshly or overreacting, pause and ask, what part of me am I seeing out there? That's projection, the shadow using the world as its mirror. You might find that what irritates you in others is a hidden part of yourself asking to be acknowledged. The arrogance you despise, the fear you mock, the weakness you avoid, they are all fragments of your own shadow waiting to return home. Second, make room for dialogue, not denial. When you feel a strong emotion, instead of pushing it away, try to sit with it. Ask, what are you trying to tell me? You don't have to rationalize it, just listen. Jung believed that the psyche responds to honesty, not control. In your journal, you might write as if speaking to your shadow, your inner critic, or your inner child. You may be surprised to discover that what felt like an enemy becomes a guide, that beneath anger is pain, and beneath pain is a longing for wholeness. Third, nurture your dream life. Dreams are the nightly whispers of the unconscious, full of symbols that compensate for what your waking mind ignores. You don't have to decode every detail. Just notice the patterns. Are you being chased, lost, flying, meeting strangers? The psyche speaks in metaphor, and by paying gentle attention, you begin to see how your inner world is evolving. Keep a dream journal by your bed. Write first thing upon waking, even fragments. Over time, you'll see the same archetypal figures appear. The child, the wise old man, the shadowy stranger, the lover. They're not random. They're you in disguise. Fourth, explore creative expression as a bridge to the unconscious. Painting, poetry, music, or even quiet reflection can open a dialogue between your conscious and deeper self. You don't need to be an artist. You just need to let your intuition lead. When words fail, color and sound can speak. This is how Jung worked through his own visions, not by analyzing them away, but by giving them form. He painted, wrote, and built, translating the language of his soul into something tangible. That process can become your own act of healing. Finally, practice integration through compassion. We often think of self-work as fixing what's broken, but Jung's path is softer than that. It's about befriending what's been exiled. Integration happens when you can hold your contradictions without shame, when the confident part of you can sit beside the uncertain one, and both are allowed to exist. As you move through life, this becomes your inner compass, not a rigid set of rules, but a quiet, intuitive knowing. It reminds you that every emotion, every conflict, every dream is part of your unfolding story. Nothing is wasted, nothing is wrong. You are learning the language of your own soul. Jung's map of the psyche isn't a theory to memorize. It's an invitation to self-knowledge. Every human being lives between light and shadow, ego and self, control and surrender. We all wear masks, we all project, we all hide, and we all long to be seen. But the moment you turn inward, really inward, you begin to glimpse something astonishing. That the parts of yourself you fear most often carry the gold you seek. That the traits you've rejected are not flaws but fragments of your wholeness. And that true peace doesn't come from perfection. It comes from acceptance. The ego wants control, the self wants harmony, and the moment you stop fighting your own nature, the psyche starts to heal itself. Perhaps that's the secret Jung was trying to tell us. That enlightenment isn't about transcending the self, but about becoming whole within it. So the next time you feel torn between two voices, the confident one and the scared one, the rational and the emotional, the light and the dark, don't choose sides. Listen to both, because both are you. And when you learn to hold them together, that's when you'll finally meet the self. Thank you for watching Psyche Unveiled. If this journey into Jung's map of the psyche resonated with you, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. We explore the hidden worlds within, one story at a time. And as you go about your day, remember Jung's quiet wisdom. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. We'll see you in the next video.